the thing is, I just don't know what he's like in this scenario. From what I've read, from what I've been told, speaking to fans in Australia and Celtic, Ange don't take shit. But you know what? I heard that about Jose, and I heard this about Conte.
Yeah.
And if there's anyone that can just turn a manager and break him, it's this guy, Daniel Levy. And that's why I want him out, because he just does it all the time. So this January, if we do not bring in 3 or 4 proper reinforcements, right, and galvanize this squad for the second half of the season, I'm telling you now, something's going to give. I don't see how it doesn't break. Either the fans break and they blame Levy again and it's all Levy out, it blows up, or we turn on another manager, or the manager just succumbs to it and then he starts saying things like, look, as long as we get top 4, and he lowers his expectations and he starts talking funny. That's why this January for me is my litmus test. Has this ownership finally changed? And everything for me depends on this January, because we're seeing now once again. Look, it's happened again. Owners. And I think fans, most fans, for the first time, Perchy, for the first time, I think fans are actually saying, do you know what? We're with Andrew on this one, because we've seen this before. So
listen, and to go on to that,
by the way, I don't trust him to do it. I don't.
No, I get that. I agree with you.
I don't.
I agree with you. That's why I wore this shirt. That's why me and Stell are part of the firm. See, if you get it, purple and gold.
Purple and gold. Well done.
So what I would say on this, and I think, do you know what? You make a great point here. I think the one thing Ange has in massive favour here, and to kind of, this is where I think Daniel Levy is in trouble in a sense, where he can't. I think he can't go to type. And hear me out when I say this, because Ange is universally liked within the fan base. There's no one. I haven't seen anyone out there that doesn't like this guy as our manager. Right? I haven't seen anyone. There are probably morons out there, by the way. But what I would say on this is, if he doesn't go and back him, everyone that's sitting here saying that this guy's the greatest, this guy's amazing, right? And he doesn't support him, where is everyone sort of sitting with this? Because if we go through this transfer window without signing anybody in January, everyone must be angry, right? Because we've seen it, right? Where are we going to be, right? Because where are we going to get to? Because
great question. That's a great question. I don't know,
because we have a lot of fans that are passive in that sense, and I'll try and choose my words very kindly for the reason for this, but all sit there and go, I love this guy. This is the right guy. He is what we are at Tottenham Hotspur.
But those people will double down. And Stell just hit the nail on the head, right? It's if Ange wants him, I want him. And now that Ange has said every transfer will be, they don't come through the door unless I want them, no one can now actually say he hasn't been backed.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good point. Great point.
Literally can't sit there and say it, because Ange just turned around and said they're not coming through the door. So if these players come through the door now, what we're saying is this is exactly who Ange wants. So if it is, I'm just going to chuck a name. If it is Lloyd Kelly, right? I'm just using that because we've been linked with him loads. Cool. All right. That's got to work out, because if it doesn't, you told us that you wouldn't bring anyone through the door that you didn't want. So what people will do, will double down, and it doesn't matter who we bring in now. It doesn't matter what caliber. People will just go, well, if it's what Ange wants. Now, that's great. But you're not going to tell me that Ange doesn't want better than Lloyd Kelly. Like I'm using him as an example. You're not going to tell me he doesn't want better than, like, when we were linked with Nelson all summer from Galatasaray. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't believe that now we're ever going to know either way because of what Ange just said. And I don't believe what he said there. I genuinely don't believe that remark.
And Ange has put the feelers out there, right? Because in the press conferences, he has said, look, I want my signings early January. I like the business to be done, because the longer you leave it, you miss games and time to integrate them. I want them early. And he goes, it's good now we've got Lanjin and his team. So he's now settled in. And Ange's words, they're going through the data now so they can prepare. So what he's saying is, I've told them what needs to be done. the team behind it, I've been told that they're going through the data and they're working on it. Let's see. But he also said, and this is where I get worried. But he also said, but I also know it's not always easy to get it done at the beginning. So why have you got? Why?
Yeah.
Why have you got to put that little door open for Levy to jump through? Because he'll take it. He'll take that door to open it.
This is the worry, right? And I think.
I'll
throw the question to you guys. I'll also throw it to the chat. I'll throw it to the chat as well. Why not? Let's get you guys involved. You guys here, I'll ask you this question. How many signings is the bare minimum in January? And listen, doesn't matter what the answer is. I just want to get people a feeling for everyone. And in the chat, put in a number. How many signings is the bare minimum for us to be getting to a level?
Okay, so for me, level, this is a really
no, but in the context of it's January, like in the context of.
Yeah, but you said to get to a level. What level?
No, to keep us to compete to get into Europe. Let's just say to get into Europe right now, because I don't think these players are getting us into Europe at the moment.
Europe is 7th, right? Surely you mean.
Europa League up, right? Okay, let's keep it simple. So anywhere top 6, call it top 6. Let's keep it simple.
I think bare minimum 2, but realistically 3 or 4. Bare minimum 2, but they've got to be
bare minimum. Let's go for the bare minimum now.
Those 2 have got to be proper players,
right?
Real players.
I'm going to caveat. I love a caveat. I'm going to caveat this with, for me, it's not about the number. It's not. What we can't turn around and do is go, we've bought in another 18-year-old striker and Lloyd Kelly, and we all go, look at those 2. For me, if you're bringing in 2 players and people say, it's difficult in January, listen, this is why these scouts, this is why directors of football are paid the big bucks. That's their job. That's their job to do this, right? If they go out and bring in a forward that you go, hang on, you slip straight in. You know, if you're going to go and buy Santiago Jimenez and you go, wow, that's a statement. Yeah, go straight in the 11. If you're going to bring a centre-back that you go, get him straight in. But if we're bringing in Lloyd Kelly and some unknown on a loan or free, people will just sit in the chat going, it's back him. He's our manager. Right. He's different. But, we had this with Redknapp, with Poch, with Jose. Do you remember, last thing I'll say, sorry, Poch, last thing I'll say, do you remember that summer with Jose? And everyone said, Jose's been backed. And I literally went, what, with Joe Hart, Matt Doherty, Gedson Fernandez, Joe Rodon, a crocked Gareth Bale,
Vinicius.
This is backing a manager? You think Spurs, Jose Mourinho, one of the greatest managers that has ever lived, went, do you know what I need, Daniel? See that right wing back at Wolves, Matt Doherty? I need him. See that bloke playing at Swansea, Joe Rodon? That's my guy. I just don't believe it. I never believe it. I never, ever believe it.
But the managers accept it, Sava. The managers accept it. This is the problem we have. The managers tolerate it. And then fans just from there on will say, well, look, managers behind it, because the manager's not said anything. And this is why I get worried when Ange, that's why I got so worried when Ange said, it's on me. I'm thinking, Ange, what have you done?
Please, I agree.
So what Sav was saying was what I meant by it, but I didn't mean going and buying a couple of 18-year-olds to sit on the bench. I meant players that can challenge for the first team, if not go straight into it, right? I'm on about a Jimenez-style player, players that you go, boom, you go in and get in a left-back that can challenge a doggy at left-back, a better number 10 than Giovanni Lo Celso that goes, boom, like there you go. We've got no Maddison for a couple of months. There you go. We've got a player, may not be on exactly that level, but he's good enough to keep you going for 2 months. This is the problem. Our first 11's good. I like it. I think it's a good 11. I think maybe even very good to us. I don't want to go over the top, but I think there can be still more improvements. But the second you lose a couple of decent players, no other football club goes to that sort of level. You look at everyone, and let's all go on to this point. Everyone was saying about title challenge and all this lot, and I don't want to sort of keep going on that, but the teams we're competing with in that sense, and that's why I rubbished it all that a week and a half ago. It was only 10 days ago people were saying we're going to win the league, right? And in a space of 10 days, we've lost what, 4 players, 5 players like that, and boom, it's all over. But you look at other teams. If you look at Man City at the moment are top of the league without their best player. Do you know what I mean? Because they can, because they've got that quality. And we need to be looking, and I'm not, by the way, I'm not saying that we're ever going to spend that level of money to get to a Man City, because I think that would take years and years and years. But we need to just be going, do you know what? We need to be looking at where we've got 2 of every position that are at a capable level, right? Someone, if one player gets injured, boom, you've got someone that goes in that can fight for it. Players, and when I hear the analogy of, well, this player's not going to come to sit on the bench, you shouldn't be signing players to come and sit on the bench. You should be signing players to come in and challenge the likes of Van de Ven and Romero at centre-half, challenge the likes of Pedro Porro at right-back, the left-back of Doggy, Sarr, Basuma, Bentancur. You get players in to compete for these positions to try and unlodge them and get into the team, right?
For sure.
But I feel like we get into this. We're going to get into this notion, by the way, and I've already premonitioned it. We go, well, we need another creative midfielder. Oh, well, we can't. They're not going to sit on the bench because we're playing with James Maddison.
Yeah.
We can't get in. We can't get another centre half and a top centre half in, because they're not going to start over Van de Ven or Romero. We need to, as a football club and as a mindset, get out of this. Get out of this. No, we should be buying 4 players for each position. 2 players for each position. That can all jump straight in here and there. And I think that's going to be so important moving forward.
If you approach a player who's at a club smaller than us and offer him a chance to play at a bigger club on higher wages, 9 times out of 10, they will come.